Hey everybody, it's Rod Giltaka. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to tackle one of the most prolific gun myths out there, and that myth is more guns equal more death. Now, I personally have heard this myself on the street, in real life, the same sort of perception. Check it out.
At the end of the day,
demonic that
in
makes
societies
sense.
where it's easier to obtain firearms and where you're allowed to carry them, there's just more gun violence. And there are more deaths from gunshots. Regardless of how many statistics you pull out, that's a fact.
Now, what's really important is, I'm not trying to make a fool out of this guy. And it's important that you hear this. I have the utmost respect for both of these gentlemen. These guys put themselves out there. They talked to me on camera. They didn't know who I was or what I was going to do with this footage, but they had the guts to tell me what their opinion was. So they get all the respect in the world. The reason I showed this clip again is to illustrate how easy it is to take a factoid or a soundbite or to take some information from the mainstream and internalize it and repeat it as if it's true. So I think that it's really important that we all do our own research. We all go out there and we all got to find the truth, because you just won't find it in the mainstream media. You won't find the truth from government sources. You won't find the truth from the Coalition for Gun Control. You've got to go find it for yourself and make your own judgment. So don't believe me. I'm going to put a variety of clips in the description box for you so you can access all this information. Now, how are we going to bring this back to Canada? Well, it's interesting. Toronto experiences a lot of gun violence. And there is this underculture in Toronto City Council and in a lot of different groups in Ontario that think that gun control is the answer to their gun violence problem. Where it really starts taking a left turn is when they start talking about gun bans. And most people don't agree with them on that because they know that gun bans don't have any effect on criminal behavior or on gangsters. So the CBC did this mini-series called Under the Gun. And despite all the other work the CBC does on gun violence and gun control and all the advocacy that they do, they actually got it right. And I'm not even sure they even knew that they did. So I'm going to show you this next clip from their series, which is Under the Gun. I'm going to show you sort of the middle of what this area, the suburb of Toronto, did to combat their gun violence problem. And then I'm going to show you the beginning at the end so that you can see what the net effect was. It'll be very interesting.
In the early 2000s, Banff-Ledbury had a reputation for being one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Ottawa.
So I came to this country to feel safe. And this is not the safest place to be.
A gang called Ledbury Banff Crips, LBC, ruled the streets, selling drugs and intimidating residents who lived here. Police made arrests, but residents were reluctant to testify or even call them when they saw trouble. Staff at the house turned to the community itself to find a solution.
I think it was definitely a trust at the beginning. It's just getting to know your community and your community house, and that it was more about how can we build relationships so that we can work together to address social issues.
The city created a pilot project called No Community Left Behind, bringing together police, health and social workers, community leaders and members of the different ethnic groups. It's now expanded to other social housing communities in the city's South End. Each month they get together to compare notes.
Youth have been very engaged in a plan for this year, and their focus is on healthy youth, healthy children.
It's 3 o'clock and the homework club is just getting underway. Every day, kids get off their buses and march directly into the Banff Community House.
So if you didn't have to look, what would be the next number?
As useful as the help is with math, English, sciences, the students are also learning some important life lessons about responsibility, organization, and not falling behind.
The homework club is the only place that I could do my homework, and I love it.
What would you be doing if you didn't have this?
Going home, not really finishing my homework, and just lying to my brother that I'm done my homework.
This homework club is one of more than a dozen programs aimed at keeping children in this community busy. There's also jiu-jitsu, swimming, and even tutoring classes. And for both children and parents, it sure beats the alternative. Of the 49 shootings in Ottawa last year, none were in Banff-Ledbury. So it does look like 10 years in, the programs there are reaping benefits.
So if you see what really happened there, the CBC showed that a correlation really didn't exist in Banff-Ledbury between access to firearms and firearm violence. In fact, they showed in that mini documentary that the inverse was true. What we saw were communities coming together to solve the true causes of violent crime: lack of opportunity, lack of personal empowerment, lack of education. How about alcohol, drugs, the drug trade, poverty, unemployment? These are hard problems to fix. It's a lot easier to pass a collection of laws that bully and criminalize only the people who choose to participate in the system itself, the people who aren't doing the shooting. Guns have been available at the same level over the past 10 years around Banff-Ledbury. So what's changed? No, more guns don't equal more deaths. But when you've run out of ways to trick people into believing things that aren't true, what do you have left?
What this shows is that they've been told by the RCMP that allowing these weapons that our group has been going, from media to media, from hearings to hearings, to show that these guns are currently unrestricted and outside of Quebec, no longer registered. So even the police doesn't even know who's buying these weapons, who they're selling them to. These are legally available, non-restricted long guns that are completely off the police's radar. And the Conservatives are letting this happen. One of these days, somebody might get their hands on these guns and use it in a huge massacre. And the Conservative government will be held accountable, because now they can change it. They've known years. They've been told, I'm sure they've known forever, but now they've been formally told by the RCMP that these are dangerous weapons and they should be prohibited, and yet they've done nothing. And even with this report being shown to them, I understand that their answer is that they're not going to do nothing about it.
Considering everything you've seen in this mini documentary, especially the last clip, I think you'd agree that it's far past the time for us to have an open and honest discussion about firearms-related violence and gun control in Canada. If we ever really want to solve the problems that we're claiming to want to solve, we got to get together as a team. We have to set aside all our ideologies. We have to look at what works and what doesn't work, and we got to be honest with each other. One of the most important things for us to do in attempting to solve these problems is to stop treating gun control as a political issue. Gun control should be a public safety issue, but right now it's not. It's a political football that gets thrown back and forth. Victims on both sides of the argument caught in the middle, and the political class really doesn't care. It's an election issue. It's a hot button topic. We need to stop doing that, and again, as I said, be honest with each other and get together and solve our problems. Anyway, hopefully this information was useful. Thanks for watching.